Good. Hi. Excuse me. I'm Shelley Tanner. I sold my last company to WebMD so I could take on one of the biggest challenges in cybersecurity today, and that is hiring. Haystack is the game-changing way to discover and hire neurodivergent talent who specialize in this field. Next slide. I'd like to share a personal story. Meet Jonathan. He's my brother. When I was cramming for my own university exams, 6-year-old Jonathan had memorized every single muscle and every single bone in the human body just by listening to me study. He was so remarkable. He was so talented in so many ways. He went to college, he graduated, he started applying for hundreds of jobs. He got a couple of interviews, and that's where everything kind of stopped. It wasn't because he wasn't the best candidate. It actually was because he never got the chance to show he was. Jonathan is on the autism spectrum. And if you met him, you might just think he's shy, but he's a brilliant thinker who never got the chance to work in his dream job. Next slide. The hiring process wasn't built for someone like him. 80% of autistic adults are locked out of meaningful employment. Next slide. And the irony of this is that many of these people have the talents that cybersecurity demands. So pattern recognition, deep thinking, and the people that catch what others don't. Next slide. This is showing in our businesses. In cybersecurity, in the US alone, we have 750,000 unfilled jobs. And with a cost exceeding $20,000 per hire, we're looking at a massive $15 billion opportunity. Next slide. The talent is available, but it's getting filtered out before it's getting seen. So these are the Jonathans of the world. Next slide. What if we could flip the hiring process? And what if, instead of filtering people out, what if we could prove what they could do first? That's exactly what Haystack is doing. We don't just find talent, we prove it. This saves employers time, it saves employers money and all the associated frustration. So by measuring what candidates actually can do, not just what they claim, we're able to uncover hidden talents. Next slide. So traditional tests miss so many people because so many people would struggle with those standard formats, but games can engage everyone. Many of the best candidates don't even know it, but the games will be able to show them. Our game, Haystack Chronicles, identifies the strengths that make ideal cybersecurity talent through observing and tracking how someone interacts with the game environment. Next slide. For example, one player might not mind using more energy so they can accomplish rapid results, whereas the other might prefer to be more conservative, slow, deliberate. Next slide. So this indicates for the first player that we have strengths like rapid, risk-taking, adaptability, and for the other player, strengths like patience and long-term planning. Next slide. So these are different individuals, ideal for different roles. Next slide. And for the science behind this, we're co-developing the game with specialists like psychometricians so that we can fill our pre-assessed talent pool so that employers can tap into it based on their needs for a continual pipeline of talent. Next slide. So think of Haystack like LinkedIn, except LinkedIn only reports what people claim is true. Next slide. Next slide. Haystack shows because we measure natural potential. Next slide. And the next slide. The cybersecurity hiring gap is a massive opportunity with the global workforce shortage being around 5 million. Next slide. We are targeting just those companies, the 43,000 in the US have more than 500 employees. Next slide. And reaching just 5% of that market is a $60 million opportunity. Next slide. Our path to revenue is pretty straightforward. We're securing employer and university pilots now that will prove the value of our pre-assessed candidates, and those employers will convert to paid. Right now, we're asking employers for $500 per candidate subscription fee and another $2,500 if they decide to hire that candidate. with just 15 employers, next slide, and supplying them 10 candidates a month for one hire, this is already an initial pathway to 1.4 million in annual recurring revenue. Next slide. So this is in the vision. This is happening now. We've secured around 300,000 in funding. Our prototype is in testing. We're in planning with large universities and employers for pilots, and these partnerships are already leading us down the path to revenue. If you're wondering what happened to Jonathan, he got lucky. Someone finally saw him beyond the resume, beyond the interview, and now he's thriving. But luck shouldn't decide who gets a shot. We're building a future where potential is seen, where employers get the right talent faster, and where people like Jonathan don't slip through the cracks. If you're ready to be part of this multi-billion-dollar opportunity, please reach out. I'm Shelley Tanner, and this is the future of hiring. Thank you.
Very well done. Amazing story. Very good pitch. Well done, Shelley.
Thank you.
Panelists, questions for Shelley?
I can start off, Shelley. Thank you for that pitch. I think that was really well done, and it was one venture that I haven't heard of quite yet. I am really curious about how I know that you're just starting out with some pilots and at the beginning of some partnerships, but I'm curious how you will start validating that the in-game behavior or the in-game play actually predicts to successful on-the-job performance and not just cognitive abilities or personality traits. I'm really curious about that.
That's a really good question. And it's kind of the special sauce and the basis of everything we're doing, really. So, of course, the proof's going to be in the pudding, right? If people are hired and they're retained, then that's going to be the proof. Of course, right now, we're going through the validation process. So we put people through studies, and at first we test them against validated instruments, which is one great step, but it's not great because none of those have really been validated for neurodivergent individuals. So we've got to go a step further and validate people against themselves, against successful candidates, against outcomes, and with feedback. So there's a number of layers here, and they're kind of a bit like an onion that we're going to have to add on to each time, become sort of perfecting the sculpture, if you will. And it will be a continual learning process. And I believe that research will be a part of the fabric of our company.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for that answer.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Rich.
So yeah, Shelley, thank you for this. It's, cybersecurity seems like one of those amazing, opportunities right now. It's just going to get more and more critical, and we're going to have a shorter sort of like talent pool, like you were saying, and intersecting that with quantum computing, if it happens, oh my God, there's so much on the horizon. Part of the company that I had previously started was using AI for social good, and there's a cyber component to that. And one of the biggest stats that shocked me was that 80 to 90% of attacks were actually from social engineering, not, the dark hackers, coding away, attacking. How are you like engaging with that kind of reality now? And how does the gameplay sort of, maybe this is leading off of Michelle's question, are you leaning one way or the other in terms of like the social engineering skills versus the computer programming skills?
It's really interesting because you do have both sides of things, right? You have the people that are preventing and the people that are attacking. And I think the interesting thing about what we're doing is we are initially targeting specific roles for the purposes of what Michelle was asking, for validation purposes. We have to be very targeted. But, if you remember the slide I had with the filter and it upside down, we're actually going to discover, some people are those slow, deliberate types, and some people are rapid engineers. And the idea is uncovering the hidden talents that exist and being able to map those. So I think we will find both of those eventually through our research process. In the beginning, we are focused on specific roles, mostly entry level, because we want to be able to prove that we have people that can do these roles. And we're focused on two specific roles within that are most prolific in terms of hiring for those in that level.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shelley. Yeah, very exciting ideas and early results. I guess my biggest question is like, what kind of company are you building? So is this going to be like a placement firm where you place a lot of people? Are you going to be more of a company that serves other large companies that process their candidates? Are you more like a LinkedIn? And along those lines, what would the exit be for investors? Would you be a public company or would you be sold to somebody?
Wow, that's a lot of big questions there. I think that we have a long conversation to have after this, but there's multiple ways that we can go in terms of exit, but we're going to move in a staged way. So initially, we're an assessment company. We're building something that's a better form of assessment. So we're creating that pipeline. Our plan is to take the step and segue into that, actually connecting to opportunities through AI, so that can be quickly scalable. That can be done a number of ways. It can either be done PaaS straight into people's applicant tracking systems, the ones that they have right now. It can be done independent of that. But either way, the plug and play for the component we're building, it can integrate with a number of different operators who are in that space already. And those are some of the things that we're looking at as well. So, oh gosh, I hope that I answered all your questions. I'm sorry, I started going from the end and then backwards, but
maybe so along those lines, who do you think are potential buyers of your company once you're successful?
I think potential buyers of our companies are, it's interesting because I think that any large company that who was either cybersecurity would be very interested in us. But I think from a more generic standpoint, the most natural is someone who has candidates going through it, like LinkedIn or like Indeed or any of those. We would superpower what they're doing, because if you ask any candidate, what is the worst thing about engaging with that process? It's the filtering process. We're not looking at the right data and we're correcting that.
Great, thank you.